Episode 5, baby! Hello there, my name is Vlad and welcome to the Garage Animal channel. In the previous episode, I slept in a new engine, it fired right up, and for a brief shining moment it looked like I could just cruise to work, tune my old engine in my spare time and live my best life. But nope, the universe had other plans. I pull up to work, do my 9 to 5, and when I head back out, surprise, there is a fresh oil puddle under the car. Again. So instead of heading home, it's back to the garage. Yay. While driving there, the dash started acting possessed. Turn on the lights and the fuel gauge dives like it's seen a ghost. Turn them off and flick the hazards or blinkers, it starts jumping around like it's doing cardio. And just before I arrived, the oil pressure light began flashing like a disco ball. Translation: the engine's running on oil fumes. Oh, and the battery was flat because the alternator wasn't working. The alternator light should come on when the engine's off and go off when it's charging. But mine didn't light up at all. The alternator needs that light to start charging, and once the alternator wakes up, it switches to self-excitation and shuts the bulb off. Just to be safe, I checked if the bulb was toast. Nope. Digging deeper, I found the issue. A loose wire on the alternator's voltage regulator. And back to the dash. Traced it back to two wires I have swapped by mistake. Oops. Next up, the oil leak. Yep, rear crankshaft seal. Again, that means pulling the engine. While it's out, I figured it was time to make the exhaust modular like it was in stock. The custom stainless setup on there is all one piece and has a 90-degree bend that kills flow. Also, to drop the gearbox I need to yank the exhaust manifold. So I grabbed the angle grinder to cut the exhaust, but first I've got to disconnect the drive shaft. It's in the way. Fast forward, exhaust's cut, gearbox is out, flywheel's off. And what do we see? First off, yeah, oil was definitely leaking here. Why? Because the rear seal is no longer rubber, it's basically plastic. And I forgot to check it when installing the flywheel. Rookie move. But wait, it gets worse. Take a look at this. Here's what happens when you hammer the flywheel on like a caveman. It cracked, yep. So now I need a new flywheel. Balancing, yeah, forget it. My buddy hooked me up with a flywheel from an engine he grenaded after driving without oil. Yeah, karma. Cleaned it up and it's good to go. Now it's like my third or fourth time changing that rear seal and it leaks every time. So I started asking myself, what if it's not just bad luck? First theory, the seals I used were junk. This time I hunted down a high quality one everyone recommends. It's not technically for this car, it's from a Gazelle's rear hub, but it fits and it works in both directions of rotation. Second theory, maybe my hands aren't as golden as I thought. I almost went full mad scientist and built a seal installation tool. But instead I did it the right way. Cleaned the seat, oiled the seal, checked the slinger and tapped it in carefully. I also wanted to reseal the balance shaft cover just to be safe, but one bolt didn't want to unscrew. Tried using an extractor like in the previous episode and yup, snapped it again. Got mad, bolted everything back and rage quit that job. The new flywheel didn't want to go on either, but this time I didn't want to hammer it on and just bolted it in slowly. And spoiler alert, the seal finally stopped leaking. Off camera I swapped the front seal too. Back to the exhaust. At first I planned to use flanges. Best solution, but fabricating flanges is a whole thing. Time, money, welding. Then I discovered special exhaust clamps. Picked the smallest size, grabbed some asbestos rope for sealing and high temp exhaust sealant. Wrapped the pipe, added some sealant, clamped it down, looks solid. Time to slap the engine back in with a little editing magic. It's in. Since the engine nearly ran dry, I drained the rest of the oil, which went black after like 30 kilometers, nice, and poured in fresh juice. While I was at it, I pulled the oil pan, cleaned it up, slapped some sealant on the gasket surface, no more leaks. Time for a test drive. Borrowed a GoPro, strapped it to the car, filmed the exhaust in action, and more importantly, checked for leaks. And the best part, no leaks, no drips, no drama. Everything was great, for a while. Except oil was still leaking a bit, not from the seal, from somewhere else. This time it was the dipstick tube. Turns out crankcase pressure was too high. Cleaned the breather with a wire brush, swapped the hose, pressure dropped a bit, but yeah, the engine is worn out. So I drove it around, no big issues. Until the day my brake cylinder started peeing itself. Classic. I went all in and decided to replace all the brake cylinders. Step 1. Yank the old ones, let everything that can break, and then figure out what I need to order. Spoiler, one of the lines snapped. Ordered new cylinders, rear brake lines and brake fluid. During install I stripped the threads on one of the new cylinders while tightening the hose. High quality stuff. Tried to reuse one of the old cylinders, but that thing started leaking too. Looked into replacing it, but turns out they are rare and only sold in expensive full kits. A local parts hustler recommended to rebuild the old cylinders. So I bought a brakes rebuild kit consisting of rubber seals, WD-40, lighter fluid, polishing paste, a drill and a sauna head. No joke. I pulled the piston, pulled the threaded ring. These brakes are self-adjusting. In this mechanism, the piston moves back and forth along its axis, and the threaded ring, held in the cylinder by friction, allows the piston to travel a certain distance. When the clearance between the brake shoe and drum becomes too large, the piston moves out farther than usual. The friction in the ring is gradually overcome, causing the ring to shift slightly inside the cylinder toward the piston. Chopped off the old seal, cleaned the piston, wiped the bore, cut a strip from the head, soaked it in lighter fluid, rubbed it with polishing paste, wrapped it around a drill bit, added some WD-40 and spun this construction inside the cylinder. Reapplied the paste as needed, polished till it was clean. Reassembled the whole thing, pressed the ring in, threaded in the piston, pressed it with a vise, backed it out again, slipped on the new seal, which took forever. Then lubed everything up with a brake grease, reinserted the piston and slapped the dust boot on. looked promising until one of the new cylinders started leaking. So either they are fake new or garbage, or were stored in a swamp. Who knows? Polished up another old one and that one worked. Then the brake reservoir started leaking. Everything is leaking in this car. Everything except coolant. But only because it's air-cooled. Bought a new one. Also swapped the master cylinder. This time I'm using a ladder one. Same thing, but just needs thread adapters for the brake lines. Finally, everything is in and nothing is leaking. This was November 2020. Winter was coming and it means that the next video will be about heater. So hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it, hit that like button if you like this video, and don't forget to write a comment, it will help to promote this video. Cheers!